So you might hear radiologists talk about something called big vents. And no, they are definitely not talking about your home's air conditioning. We are going deep, deep inside the human brain to unravel a medical mystery that's all about plumbing, pressure, and believe it or not, some very convincing imposters. All right, let's get into it. Okay, just take a look at this brain scan. See those huge white, almost butterfly-shaped areas? Those are the ventricles. They're a network of chambers right in the middle of the brain. Now, they're supposed to be there, but they are not supposed to be this big. This is a really dramatic example of what we call ventricular enlargement. You know, when you see an image like this, it immediately raises a critical question. What does it actually mean when these chambers swell up to this size? Is it always a sign of something dangerous? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to piece together today. To figure out what might be going wrong, we first have to understand how this whole system is supposed to work when it's healthy. So, let's start with a little tour of the brain's incredible and kind of hidden plumbing system. Think of this slide as our map. On the left, you've got an actual MRI. And let's be honest, to the untrained eye, it can look like a confusing gray mess. But on the right, we've got this beautiful, simplified 3D model. This helps us isolate just those chambers, so we can get a really clear look at their shape and how they all connect. Right, so the main thing to get here is that this isn't just one big blob. It's a whole system of 4 distinct cavities that are all linked up. You've got the 2 big C-shaped ones, the lateral ventricles, and they connect down to the 3rd ventricle, which then funnels through this tiny little channel to the 4th ventricle way down at the base of the brain. It's like a whole series of interconnected tunnels. And what's flowing through these tunnels? Well, it's this stuff, cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF for short. You can think of it as the brain's personal shock absorber. It's this clear, protective liquid that basically lets your brain float, cushioning it so it doesn't get banged up inside your skull. And get this, your brain churns out about this much CSF every single day. That's more than a big bottle of soda. But here's the catch. Your brain can only hold a small fraction of that at any one time. So that means this fluid has to be constantly moving, constantly circulating, and getting reabsorbed. The flow can't stop. So how does it all move? For a long time, we had a pretty simple idea of how it worked. But, recent research has shown us a system that's way more elegant and complex. It's actually less like a simple pipe and more like a bustling city subway system. Yeah, the old model was basically a one-way street. You make the fluid, it flows through the tunnels, and then it just drains away. Simple, right? But the new, updated model is so much cooler. It's this complex transit system where fluid is constantly being exchanged between the pipes and the brain tissue itself. And this subway analogy is just brilliant for understanding it. Imagine the blood vessels, the arteries and veins are the subway trains, and the brain tissue itself, that's the platform. The CSF is like the passengers, constantly hopping on and off the trains and moving across the platform. So here's how the journey works. The CSF passengers get off the artery train and step onto the brain tissue platform. As they cross that platform, they're actually picking up all the metabolic junk. They're cleaning the brain. Then they hop onto the vein train to get carried away. This is the brain's incredible self-cleaning system, and it has a great name, the glymphatic system. Okay, so now we know the brain has this amazing, fluid-filled cleaning system. But this brings us to a really huge challenge in diagnostics, a genuine case of mistaken identity that radiologists have to deal with all the time. Which brings us right back to our big question. If you see big vents on a brain scan, is it time to panic? Well, the answer, maybe surprisingly, is not always. Just look at these 2 scans. At first glance, they might look kind of similar, right? Both of them show large, maybe uneven-looking ventricles. But the scan on the left is a totally harmless, normal variation. The one on the right, though, shows a life-threatening blockage that's causing a dangerous buildup of pressure. Telling these 2 apart is absolutely critical. So there are 2 main imposters that can fool you. First, up to about 10% of people just have slightly lopsided ventricles. It's just how they're built, and it means absolutely nothing. And second, as the brain naturally shrinks a little with age or maybe after an injury, the ventricles can get bigger just to fill in that extra space. It's not a pressure problem, it's just a space-filling solution. So once we've ruled out all the imposters, what are we left with? We're left with the real deal. The condition where big vents are a true, serious sign of trouble. And that condition is hydrocephalus. The name literally means water on the brain.
It's what happens when that normal circulation of CSF gets disrupted, causing it to back up and build up incredibly dangerous pressure inside the skull, which, remember, is a totally rigid box.
This quote sums it up perfectly. I want you to imagine a kink in a garden hose. The tap is still on, right? So pressure builds and builds up behind that kink, and the hose starts to swell. That is exactly what's happening in the brain. It keeps making all that CSF every day, but if the flow is blocked, it has absolutely nowhere to go. So what causes these kinks in the system? Well, as you can see from this chart, the causes really vary. Tumors or neoplasms are a big one, about 30%, because they can physically block the pathways. But it can also be triggered by things like infections, head trauma, or a specific condition in older adults called normal pressure hydrocephalus. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Seeing enlarged ventricles on a brain scan, well, that's just the first clue in a really complex investigation. It's a symptom, not the diagnosis. The real detective work for doctors is figuring out why they're big. Is it harmless? Is it just filling space? Or is it a dangerous plumbing blockage that needs to be fixed right away?
Understanding this system has opened up whole new ways of seeing the brain, not just as a bunch of neurons, but as this living, breathing, fluid environment that's actively cleaning itself every single day. It really makes you wonder, what other profound secrets about our health, about aging, and about disease are still flowing, totally undiscovered, through this hidden ocean inside our heads?